I remember when I was at Baylor University, my little mama, Pauline Bernadine in Austin, Texas, I missed her. I missed my mama when I was at Baylor. And I was homesick from my mama and my daddy. But, you wouldn't let on. But there was this preacher named Marshall Edwards and his wife Doris. They were a pastor there in Waco at the time, and they used to be in Austin. He was my high school football chaplain. And they decided to have some of us Austin, Texas kids come over to their house there while we were at Baylor in Waco, Texas, for a meal. And so we were all excited, about a dozen of us. We got over there, and it was good to be with them, to have a real meal, you know what I mean, not the dorm food. And all of a sudden, we're on the back porch, and Doris comes out. Doris is a very cultured lady. And she said, okay, dinner's just about to be served, but I want to ask a few questions. And she asked, like Alan, what's your favorite meat dish? And he said, meatloaf. And I went, meatloaf, We had so many crackers in ours, I never got into it. But anyhow, you know what I mean, Pastor? We've been there. And she said, well, I've got meatloaf. He said, you do? How'd you know that? Well, I called your mother. And then she asked another student, what's your favorite dessert, and this and that, favorite salad, and got just about all of them. And came to me, but I knew she wouldn't know my favorite food. But she said, Dennis, what's your favorite dish of all dishes? I knew she wouldn't get it. I'd never told anybody. I'd never even told my mama. And I said, you're not going to get it? Well, try me. I said, cream peas. Cream peas. Cream peas. And Doris said, I've got cream peas. I said, you've got cream peas? She said, I called your mother. You called my mama? I wanted to get in that 64 Chevy, and I wanted to drive to Austin, go hug my little mama and say, fix me some cream peas. I'm going to tell you, it feels so good to be loved in your language. I hate to say it, I don't know what my mama's favorite dish is. I think she loves everything. But she knows mine. She knows mine. And to end with this last story, which is even a little more closer and more up to date. A couple of years ago, we were living in West Monroe, Louisiana. I was pastor at First Baptist West Monroe. And I decided that it was time to take my family out on an outing. My family likes country music, and so I decided to take them to go see George Strait. My little woman thinks George Strait's the cutest thing there ever was. I told her, I said, honey, what has George got that I ain't got? She said, a lot. But anyhow. And so anyhow, I remember we were finishing, we were getting all dressed up. I had on a Mo Betta shirt, Garth Brooks Mo Betta shirt. And little Dusty, my little boy, he had on a Garth Brooks, a Brooks and Dunn shirt, sort of like a flame of fire. He looked like he was all decked out. Chad had a Mo Betta shirt. My little woman, she looked like a Laurie Morgan. She didn't look like a pastor's wife. You know what I mean? She more like a deacon's wife. But anyhow, we just. Maybe an usher's. But anyhow, I don't know. Just a good look. We drove over to Shreveport, which was about 90 miles away, and we got over there on Saturday night. I couldn't believe I was doing this for my family. We ate at Ralph and Cat Coos, and then we went there to the deal, and man, I knew we wouldn't get out there till midnight. I wouldn't get back home till 1:30 in the morning. I'd have to get up and preach 3 times, three worship services. My goodness gracious alive. And I'm going, how am I going to do all this? But what you do for your family, because we're sacrificial and we'll get a pair of socks for Christmas. But anyhow, we'll go ahead and we'll do what we got to do. And so I'm standing up there, and I'm not really getting into it. There, my wife's singing, the boys are singing. I'm just not really getting into it. And we're there and just sort of enjoying it as best we can. Well, I got to tell you about something that happened about a week before that. A week before that, I'd gone into my oldest boy's room to give him a hug good night, old Chad. I went in there and I said, hey, Chad, I love you, son. I like to hug on my boys. My dad and I always shook hands, old Floyd Leon. Hey, put her there. Hey, come on. Put her there. All right. And that's the way he says, I love you. That's sort of his way. And but I like to hug on my boys. I'm going to give them a kiss. And I said, I'm going to do it forever. I won't do it in public, but I'm going to hug them and kiss on them. You know what I mean? And so I go in there, and I'm hugging on them, and I'm giving them some kisses. And my boy goes, Daddy, come on, man. You always telling me you love me and hugging on me and kissing on me. Gosh, man, we're men. We're men. I said, son, I'm your daddy. Dad, but we're men. He's about 13 years old. I said, well, son, I'm your daddy. And I mean, my dad and I, we always shook hands, but I want to hug my daddy. And I hug my daddy now and hug him, give him kisses all the time. He doesn't know how to handle it. I hug him and kiss him, and he just goes, well, y'all drive careful now. Drive careful, and y'all are good kids, and we never had to bail you out of jail or anything, and we love you, and y'all be careful. Well, but with my boys, and he said, Dad, let's do what they do on Home Improvement. I said, what do they do on Home Improvement? He said, Dad, they have a code way of saying I love you. I said, what do you mean there's a code way? He said, well, what they say is, how about those Tigers, those Detroit Tigers? And that means I love you. That's their code way of saying I love you. He said, let's say, how about those Cowboys? I went, oh, Chad, come on, Dad. I went, son, come on. So finally I go, how about those Cowboys? And he goes, yeah. So I go back to the back bedroom and tell Laurie, she said, honey, he's going through a stage. Okay, you just need to love him. And I've got a book I want you to read. I've got a book. I said, I ain't reading a book. You need to read the book. Well, anyhow, back to the story, A week later, we're there watching George singing. They're singing, oh, my exes live in Texas. And I'm just sort of standing there. I'm starting to bowl. But all of a sudden, old Chad comes over by me, puts his arm around me, looks up at me and says, hey, Dad. I said, what, boy? He said, how about those Cowboys? And I got into it. Amarillo by morning. All my exes live in Texas. I mean, it was the best concert I'd ever been to in all my life. I mean, I just loved it. We all sang. I mean, when it was all over, we went and stood by a cardboard cutout of George Strait and got a picture with him. And we got a cassette tape, a video, and it was great. We drove all the way home listening to that music. The next morning at church, I was given the invitation. I was humming, all my exes live in Texas. Amarillo by morning. All that to say, is your love tank full, or are you loving on empty? Learn to love others in their language. It's biblical. Because you see, we can love others because He first loved us. So let's love others. And more than likely, they'll learn to reciprocate and love you in your language. God bless you. Is your love tank full, or are you loving on empty? God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.